There have been some weird stories over the years of people abandoning decent or big stacks on subsequent days of tournaments. There was a weird one where someone who knew they were going to have to leave the main event played a few days and then just abandoned his stack, where he knew in advance that he was going to have to leave. That was really strange. We also had Kevin Rax, whose real name was Kevin Roster, who attempted to play the main event even with a plan very soon after that to commit suicide via medically assisted suicide because he had terminal cancer. He had sarcoma. Young guy, too. But just he wanted to play the main event anyway and get through it. And people even donated to him so he could. And then he ended up unable to return when his health just got so bad he couldn't go back after one of the dinner breaks. At least that was a good reason to abandon his stack. We've seen others who just don't show up, such as ones who are passed out from drinking or drug binges. Vinny Vin was known for one of those, where he had either the best or second best stack at the 2007 1K with rebuys event at the World Series and just blinded it out because nobody could reach him. And I think he ended up finishing like 19th. I actually finished 10th in that event, so that actually affected me. And that empty stack there that people kept stealing from through raises when they were blind, that was creating a different dynamic at the table for sure. There's been a number of stories over the years of people who either didn't show up or purposely abandoned their big stack. So we have another one of these. Nick Yunis, Yunis, had a 505,000 chip stack coming into day 2 of the $1,100 triple stack no limit hold'em event at the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Open in Hollywood, Florida. And he had already won an event that series. He was trying to now win his second event of the series. He was pretty sure that at the very least he was going to complete this whole thing. He had the 11th best stack of 105 remaining coming into day 2. And he couldn't picture a reason that he would leave. His wife was pregnant, but she was only 7 months pregnant. So he wasn't that worried about that interfering, but sure enough, it did. His wife began to experience complications, and all of a sudden she had to have a last-minute C-section for the morning of day 2 of that tournament. So he decided to go be with her and did not show up for day 2. He tweeted, "If anyone is wondering why I abandoned my 11th out of 105 player stack in day 2 of the SHRPO, it's because my wife had a last-minute C-section, and about 2 hours ago I became a father. Welcome to the world, Matthew James Yunis. May God bless you as he has blessed us." Now, he wasn't completely giving up on that event. His plan was to go to the hospital with his wife, wait for the birth of his son, and then rush back to the Hard Rock before his stack had been blinded off. But the time it took for this to occur was just too much, and he was unable to get there before he had completely blinded off. He had won the $1,100 8-handed deep stack event at the SHRPO. He got $34,000 for that, and his wife was with him in the winner's photo. He didn't think she'd be having that baby all that soon. Nick Yunis has 51 cashes in WSOP events. Of course, this was not a WSOP event, but he does have that. He does not have a bracelet, though he did win a WBT event in 2015 for $249K. He finished second, though, at the World Series of Poker in 2022 in an 8-handed event that was $1,500 buy-in of No Limit Hold'em. So What could he have won in this event? Well, the winner of the one he abandoned, Johnny Bromberg, cashed $99,427 after a four-way chop. So that's approximately what he left behind. It's not clear if he actually cashed in that event, though there were two stacks listed as, quote, unclaimed. And one finished in 25th, one finished in 35th. I don't know what's up with the other guy. It's funny how somebody else didn't show up either, and probably blinded into cashing. So if he was the 35th place finisher, then he got $3,850, and if he was the 25th place finisher, he got $4,500. It's interesting. How did another big stack not show up? That guy get someone pregnant too? Maybe people are just like having early babies there in Florida that day. Really strange. The winner's photo from the event he did win shows 10 deuce offsuit, which of course is the Doyle Brunson hand. I'm not sure if that is actually what he won with, or if he was just showing that. I'm forgetting what the suits were for Doyle Brunson's hand. So I'm not sure if those are the same suits. It was 10 deuce offsuit in his winner's photo. So it could be a tribute to Doyle. It could just be a coincidence that that's the hand he ended up winning with. Anyway, I guess congratulations to him for the baby. It's nice that he was there for it. I mean, he could have just said, sorry, honey, I've got a good stack. This is for our family's future. Have the baby yourself. He could have said that, but he decided he's going to be there. So that was good. I can't even blame him for this. When I first heard about the story, I thought, what a dummy. Why was he going to play when his wife is just about to have the kid? Like, why would you do that if your wife is 9 months pregnant or 8 months and 3 weeks pregnant? Something like that, where her having the baby is not out of the question. But yeah, 7 months, I would understand why he wasn't expecting that was going to occur. When Benjamin's mom was 7 months pregnant, maybe even more than 7, like 7.5, we actually went on a little trip. We went to Utah, to Zion and Bryce Canyon. We were a little bit concerned, like, what if this happens in Bryce Canyon? Because Bryce Canyon is kind of in the middle of nowhere. So that's not really where you want to have a baby just show up. Zion, at least you could drive to St. George and get some decent care there. That's not that far. But Bryce is pretty far. So we were a little bit worried, but we did it and it was fine. And Benjamin didn't come for another month plus. He was a little bit early, but not like that. But we took the chance. So it makes sense why he took the chance. In fact, he's not the one carrying the kid. So he went to go play, and just kid came early, and she needed an emergency C-section for whatever reason, and he chose to be there. And keep in mind, this wasn't a standard end of a pregnancy, so there's probably some health concern for her as well. So it wasn't just that the baby's going to be born. It's also probably some reason they had to do this emergency C-section. It said she experienced complications, not so much that the baby was coming right then. So he probably wanted to be there for her as well to make sure that he was there with her if something were to go wrong. It'd be kind of fucked up if she died there while getting the C-section and he's there playing a poker tournament. That'd be kind of hard to explain to people. So that's probably one of the other reasons he left. So kind of an interesting story. Good that it worked out aside from financially. So it sounds like he cashed something, just not very much. He wasn't like the chip leader. He was 11th out of 105. So it was a big stack, but it wasn't like top stack. And it still had 105 people left. So 11th out of 105 is by no means a guarantee or a lock that you're going to run really deep. Well, that's it. We're going to shut this down. Not a really long show compared to some others we've had, but longer than I expected. I was a little afraid this was not going to have enough material. It's just kind of a slow week. Slow 2 weeks. I was looking for stories. I'm like, where's all the big stories? Guess I have to just update Otani. That'll eat some time. I actually wanted to cover the Jonte Porter thing in the last show. I just didn't have time for it. This week was the opposite. I had too much time. So the next show should be sometime in early May. World Series of Poker is coming up. If you're going to be there, you can let me know. Tell me the dates you're going to be there. If you'd like to say hello at some point, definitely can do that. Don't worry if you don't know me too well. Like, I have people come up to me every year. And I'm always happy to meet listeners, even if it's just brief. You know, if you just want to say hello and meet me in person for a few minutes, that's fine too. We don't have to spend a lot of time together if you don't want to do that. And every single year I've met new listeners. Every single year that I've been at the World Series since I've been doing this show. And I appreciate those of you that listen to this show every 2 weeks now. It used to be every week, but I can't say every week because I don't put it out every week. But I appreciate that we have some loyal listeners who listen to every episode and enjoy what I had put out here, because that's the only reason I do it. I'm not making money here. Even with YouTube, I'm still losing. So I'm putting this out because you guys want to listen. If I noticed people didn't want to listen, then I would shut it down. I'm not kidding about that. So it makes me happy that people enjoy the show, people like listening, people like what I'm doing here. Some weeks we have more material than others. Hopefully we'll have more in 2 weeks than we did this week. Because it's hard to scrape for topics. I kind of have an expectation every show's going to be like 5 hours or so minimum, or otherwise it feels empty, you know? Well, thank you for listening. That's all I have for you. Good night, good morning, good afternoon. Shalom.